Hi there and welcome back, my friends, to Torment, Tides of Numenera. We're here, well, in the labyrinth of our mind. We've just spoken to Mika, the dead daughter, or nearly dead daughter, of the changing god here.
Ready.
And now we've activated this door, and now we'll go into the other door. There was some kind of a mirror, and we'll see if we can open that as well. The light around the door's frame dims and flares like a roaring fire in a high wind. As you approach, the bars of the door shudder and bend. It wants to let you in. Place your hand on the surface and will it to open. The door doesn't open at your touch. Instead, you're drawn into the door itself again, like in the other. A world revolves far below you, a sunset in scarlet flaring on the horizon. To the east, deep indigo shadows fall, painting the planet with darkness. The faintest shimmer of a force screen distorts your vision, and the exhalation of the station pushes warm, moist air across your skin. With a shock, you realize that the view before you is almost identical to the world you saw as you fell to the earth, just slightly higher. You hold an intricately filigreed metal staff, its carvings slither under your fingers, as if it were alive. You are in a great hall that is more like an organic space than a constructed room. Machinery literally sprouts from the floors and walls with no sign of where the synthetic metal gives way to the substrata from which it has grown. Though humid, the hall feels clean and fresh, healthy and vibrant, full of promise. A holographic map of the moon hovers at the back wall near a small glowing pod. A voice speaks, as if from the air itself. Are you certain this procedure will give you final control of the cast-offs? You're mistaken. The chamber may fail, or worse, detonate with you inside. The voice is familiar, but you can't quite put your finger on its identity. Where are you? By your side, as usual, watching, monitoring. The resonance chamber is ready in Sagas. We just need to make sure this body will work as a catalyst. If something happens down there, I'll signal you to move to the next vessel. And if you don't get out in time, well, you've got me. Let's hear it for redundancy. For now, just settle into the pod, and we'll make sure this body will work for us. So we're the changing god here, it seems. You've pinpointed the source of the voice. Coming from the staff in your hands, you peer at it more closely, and you see a glowing, ghostly image, the holographic advisor from the other mirror. No, this advisor looks different, augmented. It has the ghostly, blue-limbed, smoky appearance of the spectre. It is the spectre. How does the staff work again? We need to know. Study the stuff, and it feels like coming home, the familiar friend, a comforting ally. It's the cornerstone to this moon, a key to every lock. You know that it copies your mind weakly, serving as a failsafe and a familiar, a consciousness that is your natural ally. When it speaks with the spectre's voice, and when it must manifest, it can create a ghostly image of the changing god's original body. Holding it, you feel safe and in control. I don't want any part of this. I've been trying to stop this from happening. But for goodness, an invisible force suddenly whisks you into the pod against your will. The staff in your hand vibrates slightly, and you feel yourself bathed in energies. Remain calm. This is all well within normal parameters. The minor explosion that follows, however, surely is not sudden klaxons there. The nearby platelets vibrate furiously, and the deactivated construct's arm begins to spark and flare. Get out, the sorrow is going to destroy you. Your nemesis manifests in the great hall, its form is tenuous, wispy as it congeals. It gains solidity in fits and starts. The moon's internal defenses are slowing it, but they will not be enough to keep it out. As you watch, the sorrow shrugs itself past another line of defenses, jerking itself toward a more terrible reality. Its focus snaps toward you. It coils and writhes, desperate to wipe you from existence. Get to another body. We can always make a new catalyst. Go! Do we have anything that can stop the sorrow? The spectre's love is half a sob. Stop? No. Slow? Maybe. Look around. I'll try to keep it occupied with the station's defenses as best as I can. How do I flee this body? On the other side of the station. Just drop the body and move. This cast-off won't even know what life is. A pity, but just search your mind over there. Study the map to find the way to the escape pods. Something we can do. It's a multi-level projection. Its orientation and layout is prepared in a way that is naturally pleasing to your eye, and you trace the route to a nearby escape cocoon without difficulty. You'll have to remember the layout of the halls, but the map is clear enough that you think you can remember the route. Try to pull off one of the vibrating platelets. You take hold of one of the discs. Your fingers sink into its spongy material. With a slight twist of your wrist, you detach it from the column of energy that holds it. It hums and cycles in a pitch that makes your eyes shudder. With each cycle, the disc shifts your vision, changing the colors you perceive. The tides churn within you as you hold it. It may have some effect on the sorrow. Examine the construct. Oh. Construct itself is beyond repair, but a quick study reveals that each of the construct's limbs were designed for independent power, so even though most of the construct is quiescent, its spike-powered hand is not. Working quickly, you detach it from the construct's frame. It will be a suitable gauntlet. The powers that course through it might serve to delay the sorrow's advance. Feel the moon shudder, then you feel it tear. The alarms in the great hall have begun to strobe, the lights flicker, the moon's moist air suddenly shrieks past you. Sorrow has breached its walls. The hallway branches with countless offshoots piercing the winding passages of the moon. You know that your escape lies down one of these routes. Your study of the map puts you in a good stead here. You count down the passages, and every landmark that you expect arrives when you expect it. As you race through the halls, you see a small slot in the wall. Oh, it's a firm green gel that you know contains some kind of memory. What is in that memory? You press your forehead to the gel. It soaks into your skin, leaving behind a dry viridian paste. You're constructing the staff you hold. The spectre speaks over your shoulder. This is strange, isn't it? Knowing that I'm watching you make my home, that I'm going to be updated in a week with your experiences, that my consciousness will fill this moon, and thus so will you, in an unbroken, indefinite chain. You say I don't hold any illusions about the sanctity of consciousness, but then you know that already. He laughs aloud. This conversation is turning us into a solipsist. You smile. We've been called worse. The memory fades. Keep running! You pound into the bay. Those shutting behind you, your breath comes hot in your chest. You double over to catch your breath. Several cocoons are arrayed along the outer wall. You'll need to activate one, and it will spin its webbing around you. The smart membrane is tough, heat resistance, and it will transfer the entirety of the kinetic force away from you the moment of the impact. You see an injection of some sort, but it's across the bay. You might not have time to reach it. Sorrow tears apart the wall in a fury of light and tidal energy. The flickering energies inside its hood betray no emotion except hunger. It is inexorable. The most you can hope to do is slow it. Let's use the platelet to slow the sorrow. You hurl the platelet across the bay. The instant it leaves your fingers, it begins to change its shape. It becomes a cloth, a shroud, and it curls over the sorrow, enveloping your enemy. It molds itself across the creature like a giant's cap, fixing the sorrow in place. For a moment you dare hope that you've arrested this motion. The scabrous fabric cracks, peels, and falls to the floor in a pile of organic flakes. You only have one defense left. You hardly trust it will be enough to get you to to the cocoons and off this doomed moon. Better to run straight for the only hope of escape. We'll use the injection. Will you do everything?
Just what I needed.
You race across the room and snatch the syringe from its case. Reading the label, you see that it's a stimulant designed especially for a cast-off. It confers heightened awareness, resistance to pain, and improved accuracy and focus. And you reason if you use it now, it's in your own body. It might carry into the future if you survive the present. You slap the injector into your thigh and trigger it. You feel instantly calmer, the world is brighter, and you can hear the sorrow's inexorable progress. You have a few bare moments before it comes. Sorrow recovers all too quickly from your previous attack and comes for you again. Use the gauntlet. Slip the gauntlet over your hand and hold it out in a warding gesture. The energy that blasts from it tears the sorrow apart, decohering it utterly, stripping your foe to its component filaments. I honestly didn't think that would work, mutters the Spectre. Silence reigns in the bay for a moment, and then the sorrow manifests again, threads of acid smoke weaving themselves together. Guess not. Climb into the escape plane. You slip into the cocoon, activate the ejection sequence and trigger it. Membrane embraces you, forcing you to drop the staff, and begins to slide free of the killing ground of the moon. Then your tattoo blazes, as if it's tearing open an onslaught of the tides, all in blue and silver, a stream of information too fast and too large to process. A mighty blast buffets the cocoon, and you feel one of the sorrow's inky tendrils caress your cheek and burn into your mind, searing away knowledge and memory, even as you tumble toward the earth. Amidst unspeakable pain, you feel something new forming within you, but you lose consciousness before you can identify what it is.
I'm ready to learn something new.
Was this before we fell down? Is this what we need? Oh wow, look at this. What's going on now? I hoped you would open that for me, and here we are, the Spectre says, and his voice is not tied to his body. It pours from the walls around you, from the shifting floor beneath your feet. It's time for some hard truths, child. Before he can finish, the air twists in the room, an explosion of light, and a scarred figure steps out of it. How's this for truth? Her voice is worn and hard behind the mask of the first cast-off. The resonance is mine. It belongs to me and all cast-offs. I have worked too hard for it to be otherwise. Stand aside, old man. Let us determine our own destiny. Spectre's smile is disconcerting. And I'm not sure if the Spectre is not the AI and not the changing god anymore. Your destiny? You're a part of me. The destiny was never yours to determine. The resonance is not yours to claim. He gestures a hand in your direction. Only the latest cast-off can open the door. That body and I are the only ones capable of using the power beyond. You are out of your depth, Marillel, and this no longer concerns you. He ignores her and turns to you. I needed you to open the door, and you've done that. The cage I can handle on my own. His voice presses down on you like a hand, as if trying to drop you to your knees. When I enter the resonance, it will be to return my errant children to my mind where they belong. Leave me to it, and we have no further quarrel. What say you? You'd think someone who calls himself the changing god would learn from his mistakes. Irritation flashes across the Spectre's translucent face. I'm not here to debate who I am or what I've done. I'm here to claim what's mine. The ground rumbles menacingly beneath your feet. And what is that exactly? Asks the ghostly woman. Spectre looks at the ghostly form of the changing god's daughter. As if noticing her for the first time, his surprise is brief, chill wind. whipping across the darkness between you. You, he mutters, you're her ghost. The one that haunts me. My daughter is dead. Do you hear me? I can't bring her back, no matter how hard I try. Is that so? Says the ghostly woman, but she apparently has nothing more to say to him. Scan thoughts, is that creature my father? He looks like what I remember, but he doesn't feel. Spectre shakes his head. Enough. I don't wish to fight you, cast off, but neither will you keep me from this. What will it be? The resonance is not yours to claim. The real changing god died when I was born. You're just a backup of his memories. I know the son of a bitch in 100 different bodies. This is our sire, all right, says Tesh. You speak in simple terms, the Spectre says, arcing an eyebrow. You're dense even for one of my cast-offs. I am the changing god, and you're standing in my way. Rin says, if you're truly this changing god, then this woman... He points to the changing god's daughter. Even if this woman were just a memory, she should recognize you as her father, don't you think? Rin looks kindly on the ghostly woman and back at the Spectre, but I saw it. I saw it on her face when you challenged her. You are a stranger to her. Spectre flinches and turns to face her. Ghostly woman meets his eyes, blinking once and shakes her head. You're not her, he says. Then with more force he repeats itself. You're not her, of course you don't know me. He turns his head from her entirely, staring into the dark. Spectre sighs. And now I need a short break. Thank you for watching and happy gaming to you. We'll see each other in the next episode, continuing this fascinating dialogue with the AI. Have a great time until then and happy gaming. This is Immanuel signing out. See you soon, my friends.